Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, what kind of vegetable never bowls a strike? An asparagus. Today, we're taking a look at War Room, 2nd edition by Nightingale Games. War Room 2nd Edition by Nightingale Games is a global World War II strategy game for 2 to 6 players where you're basically trying to attack your enemy where they least expect it, you're going to crush their national morale, and you're going to strive onward to capture the enemy capitals and try to secure victory. All right, you got the Axis, you got the Allies, you got a global map, you got mayhem, you got battleships, you got planes, you got ground units. Oh my gosh, you have global war and a really large package. Now, what do I think about it? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not really going to give a full breakdown of the rules and how to play War Room. Cody's done a phenomenal job on how to do that in one of his other videos. Okay, what I kind of want to do here is I just want to give you what are my final thoughts about this game. What do I think about this game? I mean, after all, I've listened to Cody rant and rave and talk about this game for 2 years now. Will he shut up about it? No, he will not shut up about it. Did I finally get to play it with him? Yes, I finally got to play the game with him. But what do I think? Is the game that good? It's his #1 game of all time. What do I think about it? I'm not the war gamer that he is. Is it going to be my favorite game of all time? I don't know, but we're going to figure it out. Now, one of the things about this game is I'm not a super big global war gamer. I mean, I've played some Axis and Allies. I love those. I've been playing a ton of other different types of war games, strategy games. Absolutely love them. You know, there's so many good ones out there. This one here just looks, I mean, that round map just looks so unique. Absolutely gorgeous map. When all the pieces are on the board, it just looks phenomenal, okay? But one of the things about this game that I think is really super cool is everything. I'm just going to throw it out there. It's actually everything. You know, so we played the full scenario, okay? So we had all nations were involved. We had the whole global map was out there. And so the entire map was set up with just massive units from the get-go, all right? The Axis and Allies just trying to figure out how they're going to maneuver things. Now, I'll admit, the first couple rounds, there's a couple things that I did wrong. I did ship movement wrong, and I did some other things wrong, and it really took me, honestly, a while to get into this game. This is one of those games that it's really hard just to read the rule book, maybe watch a couple how to play videos or something like that, and get out there and just play, because there is so much going on. This is probably the most in-depth war game I've ever played in my entire life. This is Axis and Allies on steroids, and then the steroided version of Axis and Allies on steroids. I mean, that's how I see this game. It is absolutely phenomenal. But I actually find parts of it to be easier to play than Axis and Allies, believe it or not. It's kind of really weird. It's the game, there's a lot to this game, but once you truly understand the game it's really streamlined and it flows. But it's playing the game enough to really learn that flow and how it's going to play out. All right, because when you got your movement across the board, you know, everybody's basically trying to figure out, you know, how they're going to maneuver all their players, how they're going to try to get in a position for strategies, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. One of the things I really like about this game is right there at the very beginning of the turns, everybody has their little board. Now, we didn't play with paper; we had the dry erase boards. And so what you're doing is you're trying to figure out where on the map you want to move all your different players, okay, and all your different pieces. And you only have so many different actions that you can do per turn. I think there's 9 different actions or something like that you can take. And you're writing down what unit you want to activate and where you're moving that unit to. Now, Also, at the same time that you're doing this is you're bidding oil, okay? Because every country, except China, they have oil that they can bid. And whoever bids the most amount of oil is going to be able to go first. And then it's going to go down the line. And then I think it's a roll off, if I remember right, after that. So if you want to go first, if you don't want your ships or your units or anything to be locked into an area, or you want to try to get to a certain place first, then you need to make sure you bid that oil in order to get there. But the problem is, if you bid a lot of oil to be able to do that, then you may not be able to purchase new resources, get new troops out there or anything else. So it's kind of that push-pull, that give-take, that what's more important this turn, getting units where I need them to be or buying units so that I can build up my reinforcements. Okay, you got to figure that out. All right. So then based on turn order, once you figure out what the turn order is going to be, okay, if it's your turn, you just kind of hand your board to somebody else. And what they're going to do is they're going to read out your unit and where it goes. Now, one of the things I absolutely love about this game is if you screw up on a unit, it's like, hey, I'm thinking, all right, I want to move unit 1 to like E17 or whatever it's going to be, right? I don't know if this is correct location. But then the guy says, oh, you're moving unit 1 to E7. I'm like, oh, no, that's supposed to be E17. I wrote it down wrong. Too bad. You got to really pay attention to those. It's one of those games, and it's something that you really want to agree with, and we did right at the beginning of the game, that if you mess up on your orders, you don't get to do them. They're done. It's like, oh, but I really meant to do this. There's no taking back on this one. It's you write it down, and if you're wrong, and I did that, honestly. First turn of the game, I think the third unit I was moving, I was like, I know where he's going to go. There's only one place he can go. And honestly, if you look at my board, that's the only place that I could have been even thinking about. But I looked at the thing wrong. I wrote the wrong number. I didn't get to move him. So my bad. But that's the way the game goes. You know what? That's war. Okay? You can't mess up. You got to make sure you pay attention to all those little things. Don't get in a big rush. So it's really cool. So everybody's sitting there trying to figure out their orders, where they want to go, what they want to do. And you just kind of move all the players all over the board. When you get conflicts in an area, you have little tokens. You put the little token down, so that way you know where you're going to have to deal with all the different conflicts. All right. Now, once you get to the conflict resolution, one of the things that we end up doing, luckily, is we had a couple combat boards, so we can actually do multiple combat resolutions at one time, because this is a long game, and combat resolution can be a relatively long game. But what you do is now you need to take all of the tokens and all of the ships, units, and everything else that you have in that area that the conflict is, move them over to this one board, and you got to figure out how they're going to be. If there's air support, okay, where your ground units, are they going to be attacking the air support? Are they going to be helping on the ground? What are they going to be doing? Okay, because you want to try to get the planes down, because the planes might turn around and come and try to bomb your city. They may try to disrupt it, prevent you from getting resources or whatever it may be. All right. And so the way they have it set up is you have your little board, and all the different ships and units are going to go on that little board. And then whether you're doing air or whether you're doing ground, you figure out how many dice you get to roll. Now, the dice are really super cool. They're 12-sided dice, my favorite, as we all know, but they have colors, symbols on them, okay? And what you're trying to do is when you roll the dice, you need to roll certain colors, because the color tells you what units you might be able to damage or hurt. And so it's really cool. So if you have one ship that needs a certain color, say green, for example, you roll the green and it moves it over into its next damage spot. Well, at that point now, if you have white or black dice, they're wild. Black is generically wild. White can only be used if they're in that little health spot or damage spot, I think you'd call it. It's white with like a little red cross. You can use the white to finish them off, to push them off to the side. Boom, they're done. Okay, you defeated that unit. But the other thing that's really cool about this game is if you have more units of a different type than your opponent. So say there's 4 different types of ground units, and you have one of each of those ground units out there at least, and they only have, like, say, just regular troops, regular military guys. Well, you have the advantage, so they don't get to be able to. They can't use like their wild dice, so the black and red or the black and white dice. They don't get to be able to use. I can't even talk today. So you want to make sure that your areas that you reinforce you have units of all different types, okay? You want to try to make sure that you have, if you can get your tanks in there, if you can get your ground units in there, if you can get ships in there, and just get all the units in there you can, because usually just army units or just tank units aren't going to be able to do it on their own. It shows how the different types of units really have to work together, all right? Now, you're gonna keep doing this battle until someone's gonna win, someone's gonna get pushed out, and casualties are going to happen all over the place, and you're gonna, and that's just how it is. But the cool thing about the combat is everyone's building up, and then they go into these resolutions, and then all of a sudden you see just a couple of ships and stuff come walking out of there half the time. And it is really cool watching the way combat just takes a really full map and just really trims it down. And now everyone's trying to build their resources back up. They need to buy more units, and they need to get them out there, and they need to play them. It's just the combat system was actually really cool. I really enjoyed that. And now the other thing is that's also cool is I think it's called the morale board. So all of the units that you lost that particular turn are going to go to this morale board. And this morale board, what you're doing is you're figuring out what your total morale loss is for that round. And then you have a tracker that's going to be moving up. Now, when that morale tracker moves up and gets to the end of the line and starts back over again, then there's the global morale that you're going to be moving your token up on. And that's going to affect you long term. It's going to prevent you from doing other different things. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll throw a picture up, hopefully, that shows them all. But what it's going to do is it's going to start crippling your units in the game. So you got to be very careful. You need to go into combat. You have to do it. But boy, you just got to make sure that you don't lose too many of your units because it's really going to affect you. And then the worse your morale gets, then the harder it's going to be for you to start maintaining. But then again, there you go. That's war. As your guys start getting pushed back, their morale's going down and down and down. And that aggressive unit that's going forward, it gets a lot of times easier for them to keep pushing that forward because your morale's going down, their morale's not changing, so they're keeping that advantage. So it's this really cool push and pull. And I really, really like the way that plays out. It was fantastic to see it. And to really, truly understand how that was going to work literally took us the first half of this game. I mean, we started playing this game, like 10 o'clock in the morning. I think we were halfway done with the game, or 3/4 of the way done with the game. It was like 6 o'clock at night. But we did a lot of rules checking. We did a lot of verifications. The other thing we were doing too is like 2 days prior, we just got the latest drop of what the rules were for the second edition and some new updates. We were making sure that we were trying to incorporate all of those updates as well, just to make sure to see how they played out and whatnot. Really, truly understand them. And so that was actually really fun. But there is, there is just a ton to this game. You can't even begin to talk about how much there is in this game in a short video. I mean, you can literally have hour-long videos just explaining how this game plays out. Absolutely phenomenal. Love watching how everything plays out on the map. Love watching how you're trying to see how your troops are going to move, especially across water. That's where I really screwed up. All my troops across the water should have moved 2 spaces per turn. I was only moving them 1, so they were only going half as far. Once I really understood and got that, I'm like, okay, then some of the other things started clicking. I was like, I spent the first couple rounds of how am I going to get these guys over to these other lands before the game's over? Because I was just, there was a piece there that I was just missing. But like I said, there is a huge learning curve to this game. It's kind of a medium to heavyweight game. So it's not quite medium, but it's not quite super heavy. But there's a lot of little rules in there to learn. And this is one that, honestly, if you like war games, if you like Axis and Allies type games, if you like those heavy strategy games, and even games where you're definitely working with your teams, because this is a true team game, man. Or not a true team, but I mean, this is a good team game because you got the Axis working together, and I like playing this. We played it 5-player, absolutely loved it 5-player, but you got to sit there and between rounds, me and the couple guys that I play with, I think it was Brett and Al on my team. I mean, we'd go outside and we'd just talk about this for a couple minutes. Like, okay, what are we going to do? Where do we want to concentrate? What do we want to try to accomplish? I was playing United States. I'm like, you know what? I really want to get my guys over into Berlin, and I really want to bomb them hard. I really want to cripple their resources and stop them from being able to use the rail lines if I can take that section out. So you really want to strategize, try to figure out how you're going to do all that stuff. Then again, you got to hope the dice are going to go your way during combat. They don't go my way. I think I rolled 30 dice, and on those 30 dice, I think I rolled a red symbol and a black symbol like twice out of those 30 dice. When there's one symbol on each dice, the odds were totally against me. Man, I fought a destroyer in Japan that I just couldn't sink the entire game because the dice were against me. But that's okay. It's you work on your strategies. Sometimes it goes your way. Sometimes it doesn't go your way. But it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it's one of those games. I kid you not. We played this game for 8 hours. I think all of us were standing the majority of that time, hovering around the game table, playing this game. And it literally felt like a 3 or 4 hour game. Neither one of us could believe it took us that long to play this game, and the day just went the way it did. You know, it's like, do we get in one more round? Do we try to play one more round? What are we going to do? It's like, yeah, it ain't going to take that long. It's like, oh, okay, cool. We finished the one round. It's like 2 hours just went by. We're like, oh my gosh. It literally felt like 45 minutes. It just went by so fast. Now, our game, we ended up calling it because it totally looked like it was definitely heading for one side. I mean, Japan was looking really good. United States was looking really good. Germany was about ready to follow. China was gone. I mean, but it was just so much fun. Absolutely had a blast playing this game. It is definitely a game that you want to take an entire day to play, or you want to split it up over a couple days. You know, start it one day, finish it up the next. But there's so much going on in this game. And it's one, like I said, you have to play it a couple different times to truly understand and truly know how this game plays out. But boy, I'll tell you, once this game clicks, there's nothing like it. It is the war game of war games in my book. It is absolutely phenomenal. It is probably the best war game I've played. Now, saying that, where am I going to rate it? Is this Cody's 10? Is this Cody's number one game of all time in my book? Where it sits as far as my number one game of all time? Nah, you're going to have to wait till I do my next top 100, top 10, top 20, top games. We'll figure out where it's going to play in. But where am I going to rate it? I am giving this one right now, I'm juggling. I'm giving this one a 9 to a 9.5. That's where it's sitting for me right now. Like I said, I'm not a true war gamer. I enjoy playing the game. There's a lot of aspects of war games that I find okay. There's a lot that I find absolutely phenomenal. This isn't my number. This isn't a 10 for me. Not quite there. If I played this game several more times, which I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do, I can see maybe it getting to that point. But as far as game mechanics go, it's phenomenal. So like I said, it's a 9, hovering a 9.5. I think I'd probably put it at a 9.5. The more I think about it, it's just, the gameplay is so smooth. It's so good. There's a lot to really love about this game. Absolutely phenomenal. And there you go. 9.5. Let's go it right there. Solid. You heard it from me. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we please ask that you like this video on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on Facebook, and also on X. We also please ask you to subscribe to us on all of those platforms as well, so that way you're up to date and you know when the latest videos drop. And we please ask that you leave a comment on any one of those platforms or all those platforms if you so like. We love hearing what you guys have to say about the current game we're talking about, anything new. Give us your own jokes, whatever you would like. We just love hearing from you guys. And also, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy the content that we provide you here at The Discriminating Gamer, we humbly ask you click on the Super Thanks button and leave a tip. So tell me, why are archaeologists so annoyed? They always have a bone to pick.
These blocks are unbelievable.
Oh my lord! Oh my god.
Your battleship survived.
Wow, holy smoke.
30 dice.
30 dice, he didn't roll
one
a single
red
black
and no blacks.
and one red.
Beat them odds.
Yeah.